Are you tired of hearing about the Sony A7S III or the Canon R5? Are you looking for news on the Sony A74? Or what about a new entry-level full-frame mirrorless camera capable of 6K video or 4K 60? Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Simon. Thanks for tuning into The Ordinary Filmmaker. If you're new here, subscribe to get notification of new videos like this one so you don't miss out on any news. And all the links to everything I talk about in this video, including gear discussed and the Canon EOS R5 giveaway contest details, are placed in the description down below along with my affiliate links, which help support this channel. So if you're looking to buy a camera or camera gear, please consider using the links down below. So I've got two really big stories to cover today. The first one I'm going to cover is the specifications for the A74, and then I'm going to get right into the leaked specifications for the Panasonic S1 entry-level full-frame mirrorless camera. So let's get back to the A74. Now, news on the A74 has been slower to come than the first day of school. Now, if you're not a parent, that one's probably going to go right over your head. Now, there have been rumors teasing at the A74 on and off throughout the year, but no details. Nothing but wild guesses on when it might appear. The rumor of a summer release was shot down quicker than a mallard in duck hunting season. Unfortunately, as with the Canon R5 leaked rumors throughout the year, this update has more video capabilities and less emphasis on photo capabilities. Sure, it will produce good video, but us video folks are naturally going to want the A7S III over the A74, right? And photographers are going to want the A74 over the A7S III, correct? Sure, but the A74, if Sony Rumors has it right, has some capabilities that appeal to both groups. Let's start with the sensor. The A74 sensor is expected to be 24 megapixels, which is exactly what the A7 III has. I've got nothing against 24 megapixels. I've said it many times before that 16 to 20 megapixels is more than enough to take great shots. Megapixels alone are not enough. We have to look at the camera holistically, but still, I'm sure you'd prefer to have seen 30 megapixels or more, or at least a bump up to 26 megapixels. Where we do expect to see a big boost is in the image processor. It'll be able to move a lot more data a lot faster, and I mean exponentially faster. The A74 is expected to have the same Bions processor found in the A7S III, but where will all this power be put to use? It's not like the A74 needs this power to move 10 24 megapixel images per second. Is Sony planning to boost the camera to 20 frames per second mechanical and cannibalize the A9? I don't think so. It makes more sense to use the same processor across all their cameras like Canon's doing with the sensor and processor in the 1DX Mark III. It also allows Sony to beef up the video specs and improve IBIS and speed and accuracy of the autofocus system, as Canon did with the R5 and R6. Now, Sony Rumors suggests that the A74 will offer 4K video up to 60 frames per second, and that Sony might even deliver, are you ready for this? 6K or even 8K video. Are you confused? I know what you're thinking. 8K didn't go over that well with Canon in their R5. Second, most people don't need 8K. And thirdly, to produce DCI 8K requires 45 megapixels. UHD 8K requires slightly less, so let's say around a minimum of what, 40 megapixels? Now, I'm not sure if these expected specifications were put together by a crack group of Europe's leading photo and video specialists or by the Sunday afternoon fan club, but I see some serious holes in this expectation. 8K just simply won't be possible. Well, not unless it's upscale, but why go through all that fuss for a video mode that most of its customers simply won't use unless their marketing department got in the way? No, a 24 megapixel sensor cannot do 8K. However, this is the same resolution provided by the S1H, and the S1H has a 24.2 megapixel sensor. The camera is capable of delivering 6K video, but the S1H, when first released, was twice the price of the A7S III. Would Sony release the A74 with better video specs than the much more expensive A7S III? Sure, maybe they also incorporated some overheat modes, limiting the use to less than 20 minutes and excessive cooldown periods before shooting camera zoom. But seriously, we can't have 8K in a 24 megapixel sensor, so either we've got the wrong sensor information or the video specs are wrong. And while I'd love to see 6K, I can't see Sony offering 6K video when they left it out of the A7S III. However, and here's a bit of a twist, I can see Sony offering 6K oversampled 4K video to give it decent detail similar to the A7S III in 4K, and to help compete against the competitors like the Canon R6 or even the R5. Supporting these larger video modes requires a more modern and efficient H.265 codec. Not a real surprise, as the A74 will have it. It's kind of like saying, hey, your new car comes with 4 tires. Duh, well, of course it does. But anyhow, back to the A74. What would you expect in place of H.265? Motion JPEG, anyone? Okay, that pretty much covers the video specs, and we've had our fun. Now let's get on to some of the other features that this camera will have. Sony's going to put the same dual card slots in the A74 as in the A7S III. And I like this design very much. Now, I'm not completely sold on the Type A versus Type B. They are much slower, and I'd say a little bit more expensive than the Type B cards. But being able to use either UHS-2 or CF cards is a great design. Just keep in mind, if you shoot a lot of 4K video and you do it in all intra or all I, use the faster card. It's going to take a long time to move those video files off UHS-2 despite the speed boost. The slower CF cards will also place an upper limit on the number of photos one can shoot at the maximum speed. But this can be a differentiator between the A74 and the A9 without some sort of controversial overheat limit. Yeah, I'm not going to let that one down. Now, Sony brings the same 9.44 million dot resolution EVF to the A74 as found in the A7S III. Sony also modified the menu design with full touch capability. And I'm really happy to see this. This has to be one of the most anticipated design changes over the A7 III. Gold star for Sony for redesigning the menu system. It looks absolutely terrific. But what about a fully articulating flip screen? Well, no mention. But like putting tires on a car, I'd be surprised if they leave it out. It's silly not to include a flip screen in 2020. It's like having a 30-minute record limit. It's so 2016. Sony's also expected to copy over the same autofocus system found in the A7S III. Now, Sony has a very good autofocus system. I'm not going to argue whether it's better than Canon's, as both companies perform very, very well. I've experienced animal eye autofocus, and it's truly amazing. While we might focus on individual capabilities, though, I really want you to we've got to look at these cameras holistically. Does it meet your desired capabilities? Does it deliver the results that you need? Because at the end of the day, results matter far more than any individual specification. So when can we expect an announcement? Well, initially, Sony rumors expected that we could see it this summer, right around or after or in around that time of this A7S III. But then it got pushed to the September-October timeframe recently, and now they're mentioning that it could be as late as March 2020, so anytime between September and March 2021. But what do you think? Is this enough for you to get interested in the Sony A7 IV? Is this a better fit to your needs, offering a better balance between photo and video? A more subdued, responsible camera for the ordinary filmmaker and photographer, rather than the loud and aggressive features found in the Canon R5? Or is the A7 IV a little underwhelming? Which camera appeals to you the most, and which platform are you currently invested in? And are you considering switching platforms? Let me know in the comments section down below. Oh, and one more thing. Panasonic is getting ready to announce the S5, an S-series entry-level full-frame mirrorless camera using the L mount. Looks like the entry-level full-frame mirrorless space is getting a little crowded with the Nikon Z5, the Canon RP, and I'd also put the EOS R in that space, along with the Sony A5. The S5 is going to have a 24.2 megapixel sensor. It'll be capable of 10-bit video internally, and this is an impressive set of video capabilities for the ordinary filmmaker. Most entry-level full-frame mirrorless cameras in this segment range between $1,000, $999 for the Canon EOS RP, and up to $1,499 for the Nikon. But none of them have the depth of capabilities found in the S5, nothing anywhere close. And most of these cameras have a crop, so I'm wondering if this will also have a crop. Again, we don't know yet. The S1H, I believe, does have a crop in 6K, but you'll have to correct me on that. I probably shouldn't even have said that. Maybe I'll just edit that out. Now, the price will help make sense of this camera. If it's within that price range, it blows the competition, in my opinion, out of the water. I know what you're thinking. I do. What about the autofocus system, Simon? Is it still using the contrast detect depth from defocus autofocus system? Whew, that's a mouthful. And yeah, Yes, it is. Panasonic still believes that it can make depth from defocus autofocus system work. I've yet to be convinced. Yes, I admit, each revision gets better, but it can't compete against Canon or Sony's phase detect autofocus system. And when the Panasonic system is accurate, it's generally slower than the competition as well. While I'm doubtful of its autofocus system, I want to give Panasonic the benefit of the doubt. I'm not here to trash what looks to be an amazing camera. The opposite, in fact. Perhaps Panasonic will be the only company to make contrast detect autofocus work for video. It's capable of face and eye detection. It also does pupil detection, as Panasonic calls it. And like the competition, it also does animal recognition. I'm not really sure what that means. Does it just recognize the animal, or can it lock onto their eyes as well? Hey, I found a dog. Great. Can you lock onto its eyes? Now, what this sounds like to me is a bit of marketing speak. If your camera can do eye detection, let me ask you this. So let's say you were the head of Sony or Sony's camera department, and your camera, the new camera that you're coming out with, could do animal eye detection. Would you just call it animal detection? Yeah, no, me neither. The Panasonic S5, like the rest of the S series though, is a powerful camera. It really is. It's got market-leading capabilities never before seen in the segment and could really help shake it up. Panasonic their response to customer concerns, requests, and their ability to provide firmware updates faster and more regularly than any other camera manufacturer. And despite being an entry-level camera, the S5 is positioned to be a top seller and blow the competition away like the GH5. But again, the depth from defocus autofocus system did hold back the GH5. If Panasonic cannot deliver the same accuracy and reliability as Sony and Canon, no matter how well priced, I don't think it's going to sell well enough to the ordinary filmmaker, which is who this camera is primarily targeted to. And I get it, manual focus is good. I do manual focus pulls from time to time, and it's good enough for YouTube and event work. But for the ordinary filmmaker, entry-level full-frame mirrorless camera for the ordinary filmmaker? No, you have to have reliable and accurate autofocus. And that's mandatory. Whether it's fast or not is one thing, but it has to be accurate and it needs to be reliable. Other features? Well, they gave it dual card slots, USB Type-C port, a mic port, remote inputs, and XLR support. I really am eager to see this camera in action. This is the most exciting entry-level full-frame mirrorless camera. But what do you think of this surprise leak from Panasonic? Is this camera right for you? Or do you prefer the R5, the R6, or the Sony A7S III? Or what about the upcoming A74? Let me know in the comments section down below, but in my honesty, when I see these specifications, I look at them holistically, and I've got the R5 here, and I look at this camera and think, wow, this camera, if it's got a reliable autofocus system, could be my perfect camera. It could be the camera that I'm using in my studio. It looks really, really good. I'm really stunned by this. So hopefully, yes, it's been confirmed they're using the depth from defocus autofocus system, but if it works really, really well, if it's accurate and reliable, this could be a game changer. This looks amazing. Once again, Panasonic, they're not sitting back. They're not relaxing. They've got that same zeal that Sony did when it first came to the market, with Sony's vision to be the #1 camera manufacturer. And that's kind of what I'm seeing with Panasonic here. Yes, there are some issues, but this S5, we got the S5, the R5, the Z5. Can you guys come up with names that are like car names, like the Tahoe or something where it's a little easier to distinguish, because it's getting a little bit silly. You're using the same names, R5, Z5, anyhow. But that's it for now. Don't forget to subscribe for your chance to win the EOS R5. And thanks for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. We'll see you again soon.